Hello gorgeous soul friends, welcome to my channel, Madame Devoe. Thank you so much for tuning in and for allowing me into your wondrous experience today. So I wanted to make this video because I'm frequently referring to the concept of soulmates in my tarot readings. And I guess my view of soulmates is rather non-traditional, so I think it would be best if I elaborate and kind of explain because it'll give you guys a better understanding of what I'm talking about and what I mean when I do refer to soulmates in the tarot readings that I give you guys. Because I feel as though this fascinating concept has been kind of skewed over the years and it's become a crutch for people's core wounds. So it fuels their narcissism, their insecurities, their fears of abandonment, their lack of self-esteem, when the soulmate relationship is actually supposed to be a catalyst for healing these core wounds. And this crutch comes from the idea that you only have a single soulmate, which just isn't true. You will and probably already have experienced many soulmates throughout your life. So let's talk about what makes someone a soulmate. Before you're born, you congregate with other intelligent energy forms and you plan out your experience on this earth plane. If you want to know more about pre-birth planning, I do have a video, I'll link it somewhere around here. You can click it and watch that because it's actually a very fascinating concept. So during this pre-birth planning phase, you make agreements with other souls who are also interested in having a human experience. So these agreements vary depending on what your consciousness needs in this lifetime. Some contracts manifest into brief encounters while others can transcend lifetimes. You can spend multiple lifetimes with certain soulmates. But soulmate is really just a label to describe the souls that agree to come into our physical incarnation and make the necessary adjustments in order to help push us down our evolutionary path. Soulmates can come in the form of family members, friends, pets, or romantic partners, but not all soulmate relationships are meant to be harmonious. Now, there's this massive misconception that I've seen kind of flowing around the internet, and it claims that your soulmate relationship will be this perfect union where there's no turmoil, no fighting, just love, acceptance, and harmony. And this is just not the case. If anything, some of your most tumultuous relationships are going to be with soulmates. And this is because soulmates often reflect our inner wounds. They tend to trigger us and bring out those inner wounds in order for us to heal them, to become conscious of them, and then heal them and evolve. And there's also something that I've noticed where people have a tendency to separate these soulmates into three different groups. So you have the karmic, the soulmate, and then the twin flame. And while this is fine, it's also important to recognize that all three types of these soulmates are one and the same. They're all karmic relationships because the agreements that we made with these souls before we came into this physical human incarnation are literally called karmic contracts. So I'm gonna segue into the twin flame concept for a second because I feel like this idea has kind of been blown out of proportion and it's even become a little limiting for the expansion of human consciousness, at least in my opinion. So I personally feel like there is a very toxic aspect of the divination community that relies too heavily on this idea. You see tons of these twin flame readings and twin flame predictions, which can really keep people caught in these unhealthy and abusive relationships because they feel that this person is their twin flame and they feel like this person is the one for them. They will not leave this very damaging relationship. And I'm not kidding when I say I've seen people who have gone through 5, 6 twin flame relationships. So this is why I don't really like to brush too heavily on the twin flame concept in my readings personally. I mean, I can't speak for other readers, but in my readings, you usually will hear me refer to them as the general term of soulmate because it describes them all. It describes all of those different kinds of relationships. I definitely believe there are people out there who incarnate with certain soulmates and their purpose in life is to be life partners, and you could call these relationships twin flame connections if you wanted to. But with 7 billion people on the planet and counting, I also believe that there is multiple kinds of people out there for everybody. And there's a high chance that you will meet at least a few souls who kind of fall into this soulmate twin flame bracket. And the original twin flame ideology even states that it's a rare occurrence for twin flames to incarnate together in the physical realm, and it's likely that most people will not meet their twin flame in human form. It also expresses that the true twin flame union lies within. between your own masculine and feminine energies, balancing them out and creating harmony within yourself. That is the original twin flame union. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to take responsibility for their own healing, so they start to seek out others who can fill that gap for them. And this lack of accountability is why I believe people cling so heavily onto this idea of the twin flame connection. Now, at the same time, I am nobody to tell you whether or not you are in a twin flame or soulmate connection. Soulmate connections are something that is completely between you, your soulmate, and the divine. If you have a soulmate in your life, spirit will tell you very loud and clear, okay? And oftentimes it won't be through a tarot reading. Now let's move to the signs of a soulmate connection. First one is you will notice many synchronicities or coincidences between the two of you, even strikingly similar life events. So maybe your mom and their mom share the same birthday, or maybe your siblings happen to work at the same place. It's a lot of odd synchronicities, and there's definitely a lot of them. It won't just be one or two, it'll be a lot of them. So next, you'll be able to communicate without ever saying a word. So there's a lot of nonverbal communication that goes on between soulmates, very telepathic connections. So maybe you can literally read each other's minds. Maybe you say things at the same time. I found that that's happened with a lot of soulmates where we'll say the exact same thing at the exact same time, multiple times. It happens all the time. One of my partners, we would accidentally wear the same things. Like we would wear the same color schemes. We would accidentally match all the time. It was crazy. And it happens so frequently. It was very weird. You may find that you speak with just the eyes. There's a lot of body language involved. It's not a lot of verbal communication. Well, of course there is verbal communication involved, but there is a very strong sense of subtle, even psychic communication between the two of you. Next, you can feel each other's emotions. So this is a big one. You may find that you feel their pain, their joy, even at long distances. You're very connected energetically, so those energetic impulses are always being sent back and forth to one another. And you may find that when they're really sad or when something really negative happens to them, you get extremely affected by it. And that's because you are connected energetically. So you may find even before they tell you about bad things that happen to them, you may have already felt it coming, or vice versa. You're also so connected that you usually can't lie to them, or at least not for very long, because they will figure it out. They will sense that energy, because energy doesn't lie. And same thing with them. Maybe you can sense when they're lying or when they're not being completely and totally honest. And it is this divine connection that's under the surface. It's very subtle. It's energetic, it's not visible. So after that, there's a sense of familiarity. So you may find that when you meet them, there's this sense of recognition, like maybe you feel like you've met them somewhere before. Maybe you've seen them in dreams before or in visions. But either way, when you meet this person and you first encounter them, there's always this sense of calm or just this sense of peace. So it's not uncommon to feel deja vu or, to have flashbacks, which will take me into my next point in just a second. But you may find you have all of these kind of weird experiences that makes them feel familiar. Like there's just something about them that feels familiar or it feels safe. So my next point, you may have premonitions or past life flashbacks with them, which is why there's this sense of ease within the relationship sometimes. If there's unhealed wounds, even from past life experiences, that's gonna get carried over and it's gonna create trigger points. But usually, especially if it's like a friend, you have that sense of ease within the relationship. Like you just kind of understand one another, you get one another, and it comes from that connection to those past incarnations with them, where you already experienced them, you already know how their energy is. So you may find that you have past life flashbacks. You may have flashbacks to experiences with them, and you know it's them, and I don't know how to explain it. But if you know, you know. I've definitely experienced it before. It's super weird. Very emotionally triggering, I've noticed. Like, I always know it's a flashback when I get very triggered emotionally and I start crying or something physical. There's a physical response within my body. This is not uncommon to experience with soulmate connections because there's that deep bond between the two of you that's still very strong even through all of those lifetimes. And you hold the memories of the past lives with them within your subconscious, so they're still there, they're just not actively being shown to you all the time. So next point, you can be 100% yourself with them. So there's this sense of authenticity. You know, you can be as weird or as crazy as you'd like, and they will never judge you. This is somebody who, you know, just wants to see you be you, and vice versa. You just want to see them be them, and you let them be their 100% authentic self with you. You may find that as you progress more into the relationship with this individual, there's this expansion of the authentic self. It's like you're able to be more authentic than you were ever before, because this person kind of creates the safe space for you to start expressing that, and then you become more comfortable expressing that in other aspects of life. Next, you may feel like this person is your home. So when you think of home, you may not even think of a physical place. You may think of this person because they just feel so familiar to you. It's going back to that sense of familiarity, going back to that sense of comfort, that ability to be 100% authentic. It just feels like you're exposed, you're naked around this person, much like you can be in your home space, in your safe space. So this person really becomes a safe space for you, and vice versa. They feel like home. It's like when you think of home, you think of this person. Next characteristic, you know exactly how to trigger each other. It's not uncommon to express inner wounds and project inner wounds onto soulmates, especially if we still have healing to do ourselves, which we usually do. And it's not uncommon to see these trigger points being activated in soulmate relationships because there is this sense of familiarity. And there's this reflection that happens. When this person is projecting, oftentimes it bounces back and it's being reflected to them through your actions and vice versa. So when you project your own emotions, project your own fears and your own traumas onto this person, they're gonna reflect it back to you with their actions. So, you know, a lot of people fall into this cycle because they're not conscious of it and they just don't know, you know, and that's the issue with a lot of this, is people just are unaware. But once that awareness happens and you can really look at your own behaviors and really look at your soulmate's behaviors and be like, okay, wow, what can I do to adjust myself? Because you can't change anybody else, right? You can only change you. So you can take these experiences, even the tumultuous experiences with soulmates, and kind of use them to push you forward onto your own spiritual progression. But when both soulmates are conscious and self-aware, there is this mutual respect between the two of them, which is what creates the general sense of harmony that is actually, it's attainable, but it's very hard to attain if you still have a ton of inner wounding and a lot of baggage that you're carrying into the relationship. So that's why it's so important to heal these inner wounds, because you don't want to project it. You want to respect your soulmate and vice versa. So that's why it's so important to work on yourself and do your own inner work before you start really seeking out your life partner. So next point, you may find that you frequently run into them over and over again throughout your life. This actually happens really frequently. I see it all the time in tarot. I have people that tell me, you know, I met this person when I was 16 and then they dropped out of my life for 10 years and now they're back. It's so interesting that there's this magnetic pull between two soulmates, or, you know, multiple soulmates, that will cause them to always find each other, because there's just such a strong magnetic attraction between the two. Even if there is no physical attraction there, there's an energetic attraction which keeps pulling each other back into the other's reality. You may find that, you know, you don't talk to this person for 6 months and then they pop up again, and then you talk for a little while, things just aren't working out because maybe you still need healing, maybe they still need healing, and then you drop out of each other's reality again for maybe 2 years and then you come back. It's just, it's not uncommon to see this kind of in and out vibe in twin flame soulmate connections. And this is because the magnetic pull between the two of you is so strong that spirit is always going to flow with the will of that magnetic pull and conspire to always bring you two together when it's necessary, of course. So the next sign, they make you a better person and they want to build you up. So healthy soulmate connections are not going to pull you down. They're not going to pick you apart or anything like that. Of course, if this relationship is coming from a place of wounding and lack, that is very likely to happen. But if it's coming from a place of empowerment and awareness, there is going to be this building between the two of you that makes each other into better people. They won't be jealous of your successes or feel threatened by you or anything like that. There's, like I said, this mutual sense of respect and understanding for one another, and it's used to really push the both of you to where you need to be in your lives. Which takes me into my next point. It states, you balance each other out. So you may feel that there are traits that this person embodies that you feel you lack, and vice versa. You usually can kind of fit together like a puzzle piece and you make a great team. That's why they say opposites attract, because that's literally what's happening here. It's a magnetic force that's pulling the two of you together. So it's not uncommon to attract these soulmates who have a lot of these different traits than you and are very different from you, because you can utilize those differing traits to build one another up. And this can help you with, seeing different perspectives, and vice versa. You may help them see different perspectives, which is another common sign in soulmate relationships. It's not uncommon to experience a spiritual awakening or a kundalini awakening shortly after meeting a soulmate. So it doesn't matter if this is a family relationship, a romantic relationship, or even a pet relationship. This person or this animal is your best friend. There's somebody who you can go to with all of your problems. You can open up to them about anything. Going back to what I was saying about that 100% authenticity, this is somebody you can be yourself with. They know everything about you. You know everything about them. It's just such a close-knit relationship that it's hard not to be best friends. And you don't have to get along all the time. Like I said, this relationship isn't always going to be butterflies and rainbows. Sometimes some of the hardest relationships we'll experience are with soulmate connections. But overall, there is this general sense of understanding between the two, and there's this sense of authenticity and ability to be your true self. If you've experienced most of these signs with the person that you're thinking of while watching this video, then yes, they are definitely a soulmate. But soulmates are human too, and they're not these perfect individuals that are going to come into our lives and magically fix everything, or even give us that perfect relationship that we seek. They can be toxic, abusive, or even act from a place of severe wounding. But it's also crucial to recognize that even though they are a soulmate, you must be empowered enough to still set your own personal boundaries. But it's also crucial to recognize that yes, even though they are a soulmate, you must still set healthy boundaries and be empowered enough to not let anybody overstep, not even your twin flame. So if you're experiencing any kind of eyebrow-raising behavior, soulmate or not, it is necessary to create space and to use this space to go within and heal your core wounds. Because once again, you can't change anybody except yourself. You often see this runner-chaser dynamic in soulmate relationships where one soulmate fears the connection, so they run from their feelings while the other desperately chases after in hopes of fulfilling this perfect idea of a relationship that they've built up in their mind. So the best way to break this cycle is to simply not chase, because the more you chase something, the more it'll run. So if you are experiencing the runner-chaser dynamic in your relationship, it's best to pull back and use this time to go within and really heal yourself and transmute your energy into something higher. Because what'll happen is it'll align you with something better, whether it's bringing this person back, a newer and better version of them, or bringing somebody new and more resonant into your life. But either way, you're gonna be happy no matter what, so it doesn't really matter what the outcome is. As long as you're doing the inner work and aligning yourself with that higher vibration, you will find it. So energy transmutation is going to be the number one thing that really aligns you with your healthiest possible relationship. But that is the conclusion of this vlog. Leave a comment down below in the comment box and let me know what your experience is with the soulmate concept. Hit that like button if this video resonated with you, and share with your loved ones if this is something you feel they need right now. Thank you so much again for watching, guys, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye-bye.